Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Dominate the Great Voyage. Starting from Summoning 10 Espada. Chapter 36 Davy's Blackmail. Crane Vice Admiral went crazy. A group of Marine executives did not expect that the Flying Squirrel did not die in that battle. Instead, he was captured by Christie Kingdom and became a prisoner. Tell me about your transaction. After a while of silence, veins appeared on Sengoku's forehead, and his right fist was clenched tightly. Unexpectedly, they, who had sympathized with Christie from the very beginning, are now the one who lost the big time, and they will be blackmailed by the other party at this time. Thinking back on it now, they suddenly felt ridiculous. It's not others who laugh, it's them. The other party saved the life of the Flying Squirrel Vice Admiral, and even specially called the Worm to contact him. Is it to report the safety of the Flying Squirrel to them? It's a fucking blatant blackmail. Sengoku was really blown away by Davy, and his once compassion was instantly thrown out of the sky by him. The Crane Vice Admiral, who was on the side, also thought of a point with Sengoku, and he coughed twice in embarrassment, together with the previous Marine executives who felt sorry for the Christie Kingdom. Well, it's very simple. The Kingdom of Christie has been asked by Charles Rose for the Golden Tribute 9 times, as long as you return all of them. Then this king will release the Flying Squirrel Vice Admiral, a Marine Rear Admiral and 432 Marines. The guard came back to Davy's side with the phone bug in his hand and stood up straight. Davy said the trading conditions in a calm tone. This is impossible. God TM Heavenly Gold Tribute, or a total of 9 times. How could Marine mobilize so many resources all at once and hand them over to Christie as a ransom? Is this using their Marines as fat sheep? Marine can't mobilize so many resources as a ransom for you, and this is what Celestial Dragons did. Isn't the most important person you should go to is Celestial Dragons? Sengoku outright rejected Davy's conditions. Ouch, Marshal Sengoku actually found out, as expected of Marines the resourceful general. Indeed, this king should go to Celestial Dragons. Davy was surprised, but then his voice became cold, and he continued, "So, this is the war reparation after your Marine Buster call failed. Master Marshal, don't you think that after a war, as long as the losing side escapes, it will be safe and sound?" Damn it. Sengoku's face was completely gloomy, and the corner of the desk with his left palm was crushed, and anger emerged from the bottom of his heart. I didn't expect the other party to be so unreasonable and so domineering. He really deserves to be a king, he really made him sit in the right position. Sengoku can imagine, if he does not agree to the other party's conditions. Davy will definitely take action for this, and will frantically attack and revenge the various Marine branch bases in that sea area. With Marine support from the fleet dispatched from the headquarters, it simply can't keep up with the speed of the opponent's retaliation. And the 3 monsters that appeared in the Espada Legion, the weakest big man can contain several Vice Admiral by himself. Unless the Admiral is dispatched, the opponent can be suppressed to the death, otherwise it will not help to send a few Vice Admiral in the past. The other Espada Legion monsters on the other side are not vegetarian either. It's too much, I can only give you half of it. Sengoku said with a blue face after thinking for a moment. Moreover, this transaction must be carried out in secret and must not be known to third parties. Well, that's fine, then the king will charge a little interest for the time being. It's okay to give half of it for the time being, the rest, this king will go to the Holy Land Marijoy in person to come back. Give you 4 days at most, and you must send half of the heavenly gold resources, otherwise. Ha ha, pat. The phone bug hangs up, and Davy's last sneer comes. All the Marine executives couldn't help but get angry. Master Marshal, why did you agree to this thief's outrageous conditions? You're going to take a huge blow to Marine's reputation by doing this. Master Marshal, I am willing to be the vanguard of the fleet, form a fleet, and launch the Buster call again. Confused. I absolutely don't agree with the Marshal, Your Excellency, you agreed to the other party's conditions. Quote. The phone worm hung up, and the entire Marshal's office suddenly burst into a commotion, one by one protesting red-faced. Porosalino, who knew how terrible Christie's kingdom was, picked up the black tea and took a sip silently. He didn't say anything, quietly watching the group of Vice Admiral arguing. They thought that Sengoku did not go out to fight, and agreed to the other party's conditions because they were afraid of Christie. But actually, only Pulsalino and a few Marine executives knew why. Shut up. Look at the senior executives who are arguing over Sengoku's decision. The Crane Vice Admiral on the side finally couldn't help it and yelled loudly. In an instant, the arguing of the Marine executives stopped abruptly, and all looked at the Crane Vice Admiral. Dominate the Great Voyage. Starting from Summoning 10 Espada. Chapter 37 Marine's Sinister. Tia entered the palace in the middle of the night. As Marine's advisor, the Crane Vice Admiral's prestige has always been high. When Vice Admiral's scolding sounded, all the Marine executives closed their mouths, looked at Vice Admiral Crane, and waited for her to speak. It's just that his eyes and expressions are still full of anger. The Christie Kingdom has too many high-end combat powers. There are at least 2 Admiral-level combat powers on the bright side, but there are only 3 in Espada. Only the 4th Espada can beat Kizaru Admiral, and on top of that there are the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strongest Espada. The other side also has a group of Jillian Manos Grande dozens of meters high and thousands of ordinary people, and it is also a very strong force. How many Admiral warriors do you think Marine can summon now? How many Marine Vice Admirals are deployed, and how many thousands of Marines can defeat Christie Kingdom head-on? Quote. Quiet. Crane Vice Admiral's words came down, and the entire Marshal's office instantly became a needle-dropping sound. Everyone woke up. Yes, the enemy has too much high-end combat power, and Marines suffered the loss of no information this time. They didn't know how powerful the enemy was in combat, so they closed the door. Only then did they realize how difficult the Kingdom of Christie was. The 4 Emperors Regiment level was just the lowest judgment. Sengoku saw that the scene had been stunned by Vice Admiral, and he said with a serious face, "The enemy's combat power is too terrifying, maybe Espada is not real, and not all of them are as powerful as Ulquiorra." However, given the current situation, Marine would have to dispatch at least 3 Marine Admiral, dozens of Marine Vice Admiral, and tens of thousands of elite Marines to annihilate Christie Kingdom. But Marine can't draw as much power for the time being, and we don't know how much high-end power Christie has hidden. Otherwise, if such a large-scale war is launched rashly, Marine is very likely to suffer heavy losses again. Give other evil forces, the 4 Emperors group, a chance to take advantage. Quote. Marine can't afford to gamble, so I can only temporarily agree to the other party's conditions. Is that so? Keisho, we're blaming Lord Marshal by mistake. In this case, the old man also agrees with the Marshal's countermeasures. Quote. After Sengoku's explanation, the executives were convinced by him, and finally agreed with his decision. However, it's no use if they disagree. Sengoku won't be talking to some so-called Vice Admiral executives when it's time to be tough. After all, he was Marine's Marshal, he just informed, not asked for their consent. So about the reward, should we continue? The foreign teacher asked weakly. Tisk. Speaking of this again, in fact, Sengoku doesn't know what crimes should be convicted of Christie Kingdom. Pirates, evil forces, anti-world organization, just beheading celestial dragons and offering a reward for the crime of causing great harm to the security of the world. 4th Espada, Ulquiorra Cipher offers a bounty. The 1st, Espada Tia Halibal offers a reward. 10th, 0 Espada Yami Yargo. Quote. With the bounty amount read out from the sky in Sengoku, all the Marine executives widened their eyes. They all thought carefully about the danger of Christie's Kingdom, and they all nodded in agreement and made no objection. Anyway, they don't think that any bounty hunter can complete the reward order, so the amount of this reward order is just an empty check. But this will cause many crazy bounty hunters or pirates to provoke Christie Kingdom and bring a lot of trouble. Anyway, we can't cure you for the time being, but we Marine are going to blatantly and secretly stab you with disgust. Christie Kingdom, inside the palace. Halibal, who was wearing a conservative white clothes like Nailu, lowered his eyebrows. There are some doubts in my heart. Why would His Majesty the King suddenly call her in the middle of the night? Wait, is it? Suddenly thinking of that possibility, 2 red glows suddenly appeared on the cheeks in Halibal's white bone mask. This bad guy, wouldn't he really call her to do that kind of thing? Although she said that she will always be loyal to Davy in her life, he is the only one in her heart. But will this be too fast? Should I accept it, or let it be? With this thought, Halibal's head was a little dizzy. Completely distraught, he pushed open the door with a heavy heart, and walked into Davy's King's bedroom. Your Majesty, what are your orders for summoning Tia? After entering the door, Hannibal breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Davy wearing a king's formal suit and sitting behind the huge king's desk. It seemed that she had something serious to do with her. However, there is a trace of regret in the heart. Hannibal came to Davy with a complicated look on his face. Hannibal, do you want to become stronger? As soon as Davy opened his mouth, Hannibal stared blankly. Subconsciously, he nodded his head slightly. Very good. Try to devour these. With that said, Davy took out a handful of crystal blue crystals from the system space. Inside the crystals, it seemed that there were holy souls lying quietly inside. This is. Taking the crystals in Davy's hands, Hannibal's pupils suddenly shrank, and she actually felt the unparalleled refined soul power on these crystals. Dominate the Great Voyage, starting from summoning 10 Espada. Chapter 38 Breakthrough Tia, 5 Order Powerhouse Battle. Open black lens bracket essential soul core close black lens bracket. Quality. Gold. Effect. The soul is supplemented with crystals, the soul of the eater will be greatly enhanced, the unstable soul will be consolidated, and the soul power of those who eat more crystal cores will be greatly enhanced. Introduction. This is the essence of soul crystal nucleus from another world. If you can get pure and holy soul crystal, the effect is at least 10 times that of the essence of soul crystal nucleus. Strengthen the unstable soul and strengthen the power of the soul. This is the prop to enhance Hannibal. And it is a treasure that almost anyone can use. Hannibal is the Vasto Lord of Arankar that evolves on his own. His soul has been stabilized and he does not need to constantly devour his own kind. That's only needed for the Ajukas stage. The Manos Grande of the Ajukas level needs to constantly devour the same or higher level phantoms to evolve, falling into the highest fear, which is the most unstable stage of phantoms. It will go to the extreme state of evolution or degeneration. If it degenerates into Jillian, it will lose individual consciousness and permanently lose the possibility of re-evolution. If Davy wanted to, he could use these quintessential soul cores to devour Jillian Manos Grande and help them evolve Ajukas. But right now, Davy doesn't have the heart to do that. Let's give it to Hannibal first, it should greatly improve Hannibal's strength. Break all the masks as soon as possible and become a complete and perfect human being, virtual. Don't worry. This thing is specially made to improve your strength. Be stronger and fight for me. Hannibal. Seeing the hesitation in Hannibal's eyes, Davy suddenly put his hand on her shoulder and said with an Asahi expression. Flutter flutter. Looking at Davy who was in front of him, and looking at that handsome face that seemed to be somewhat bewitching and beautiful, Hannibal's heart suddenly beat a few times. P.S. This is not me, Shuaibi readers are probably like this. It is good. With Davy's encouragement and affirmation, Hannibal nodded solemnly. Hannibal tried to put a crystal nucleus in his mouth, and then pushed Reiatsu. Soon, the crystal nucleus slowly turned into silk soul energy and merged into her body. It's just that there is too little soul energy, and the soul is just a little loose. Hannibal's beautiful eyes are condensed, and the handful of soul crystal cores in his hand are suddenly swallowed by Reiatsu. Dozens of crystal nuclei the size of a little finger were thoroughly refined by Reiatsu. Some wonderful sensations permeated the whole body, and Hannibal could clearly feel that his soul body was undergoing a qualitative change. The soul becomes more stable and stronger. Reiatsu is also visible to the naked eye and begins to rise, and the quality and total amount of Reiatsu begin to soar. Clack clack. Suddenly, Hannibal's aura suddenly erupted, and a terrifying aura after breaking through the realm swept through. I saw that the mask on her face began to crack, and pieces of small mask fragments fell, gradually revealing her beautiful face. Is this, breaking through to a high-level Vasto Lord? Seeing this, Davy narrowed his eyes slightly, analyzing Hannibal's changes at this time. When the original Hannibal was summoned again, it was at the mid-level Vasto Lord level. Now that he has broken through a small realm, all the masks on his face have been shattered and dropped. More and more like a human. More than an hour later, after devouring 60 Essence Soul Crystal Cores, Hannibal was promoted from Vasto Lord Intermediate to High. The mask on the face was completely shattered, revealing the entire beautiful face. It's just a pity that Hannibal still wears a breastplate on his upper body. I have to say it's really a disgusting armor. Davy estimates that only when Hannibal breaks through the level of Vasto Lord will it be possible to remove all the masks. Thank you for the gift of His Majesty the King. Feeling the powerful power hidden in him now, Hannibal squatted down and thanked him sincerely after he recovered. Don't be so polite to me, Hannibal. Davy saw Hannibal kneeling in front of him suddenly, and quickly helped her up. You should know, I have never regarded you as my subordinate, Hannibal. Davy gently caressed Hannibal's beautiful face, and the eyes of the two reflected each other's figures. The sight is getting closer. Soft and glutinous and a little cold, Davy added his lips with some aftertaste. Afterwards, Davy carefully checked Hannibal's physical state after the breakthrough. Hannibal, as your king, I'm going to give you special training now to help you stabilize your realm and control your sudden surge in strength. Get ready, Davy said to Hannibal seriously. Wait, I'll go back to the blade first. Just as Davy was about to start, Hannibal suddenly blushed and pulled out Zanpakuto. Suppressing Reiatsu, he used the smallest return blade. Looking at Hannibal in front of him, Davy found that Hannibal lost his mask after returning to the blade. It's just that Hannibal, who has blonde hair and golden eyebrows, is actually golden all over his body, and Davy can't bear it any longer. So, the two started a life and death duel between fifth-order powerhouses. Dominate the Great Voyage, starting from Summoning 10 Espada. Chapter 39 Espada's Bounty. Too cunning, this Hannibal's sister. That's it. Outside the bedroom, two little heads, one pink and one blue, were listening to the corner of the wall, their cheeks slightly red. The eyes were filled with mist, a little confused, and full of cute anger. If Onisama is really unwilling, you can launch a night raid on King Sama at night. Rem smiled at Ram. Da ba yo, the king may be angry like this. Ram said with a blushing face. This is the strength of Sister Hannibal and King Sama. They are so strong. They have been fighting all night. Listen to the voice. Lord Hannibal was beaten badly by King Sama. Onisama, do you want to be specially trained by King Sama even with such a look of expectation? Oh nasa da ba yo. The night was pushed away by the day, and the two little maids of Remrem were still squatting at the door listening. In the entire huge king's bedroom, there are only their two chief maids and some other maids. Apart from that, there are no guards guarding the bedroom. They are all patrolling around the palace, and the two sisters are not afraid of being caught. What's more, no one dared to grab their bags, so I just listened to them all night. You two, what are you doing here? Suddenly, Yun Yun's cold and sweet voice came from behind the two of them. Remrem screamed, yeah, in fright, and the two directly interlocked their fingers, grabbed each other's slender jade hands, and pressed their bodies tightly together face to face. Who? So it's Sister Yun Yun. Scared me. Seeing that the person who came was Yun Yun, they both breathed a sigh of relief. What are you two little sisters eavesdropping on at the door of His Majesty's bedroom? Yun Yun stared at them both angrily and funny. Lying outside the king's door early in the morning, she didn't know what she was doing, and she was not worried that they would do anything unfavorable to the king. After all, they were all summoned by His Majesty the King, but Yun Yun was just curious about their actions. Come on here, Ram beckoned to Yun Yun cutely, pointing to the position beside him. Soon, a blush appeared on Yun Yun's stunning face. The duo squatting in the corner has also become a trio. When Davy and Hannibal stepped out of the bedroom door again, night had come again. Eating the food made by Rem, although Davy is full of praise to replenish the energy consumed by eating and drinking, but the movements are still elegant, not like a rough barbarian. The king, this is a reward order issued by Martial Naval Headquarters Sengoku himself. Rem, who was serving Davy, saw that he had finished his dinner, and took out a stack of reward orders and handed it to Davy. Christie Bounty. After taking the reward order from Rem, Davy was slightly more interested. Since it was a bounty issued by Sengoku himself, Davy must give the other side a face. Looking at the first reward order with great interest, Ulquiorra in normal state suddenly came into view. Open black lens bracket Ulquiorra cipher close black lens bracket. Attached. Wearing the white clothes of the Zai Palace. Affiliation. Christie Kingdom Espada Legion, 4th Blade. Accused. Affiliated to the Kingdom of Christie, participated in the beheading of celestial dragons, and slaughtered civilians in both countries, repelled Marine Admiral and Buster Call. Evil sin. Reward amount. 1.38 billion Bailey. Hey, Xiao Wu is happy to start with a bounty of 1.4 billion Bailey. The first time he was offered a bounty, he directly received a reward of 1.38 billion Bailey. Marine's bounty was not wrong. However, in terms of strength alone, it is more than this number. It must be known that the Flame Disaster Jin, who is the Emperor's deputy, is as high as 1.39 billion Bailey. The other one of the three disasters, commonly known as the Beaten King and the Ship King, offered a reward of 1 billion for 900 million ivory, and 100 million was reserved for hospitalization for medical expenses. Speaking of Jack the Drow, he is also a character with a lot of water. Shaking his head, Davy revealed Xiao Wu's reward, and the second one was from Hannibal. Open black lens bracket Tia Harabel close black lens bracket. Attached. Wearing conservative Zai Palace white clothes. Affiliation. Christie Kingdom Espada Corps, number. Blade. Accused. Had Marine Admiral Kizaru head-on, fought off Buster Call with other Espadas, and caused a large number of marine deaths. Heinous sin. Reward amount. 530 million Bailey. There are few shots, few records, and a dangerous judgment on Espada's identity. The bounty is about the same. Only giving more than 500 million Bailey's bounty, this has caused a wrong misunderstanding to others. I don't know how many people in the future will suddenly find out that they have been cheated when they face Hannibal because of the amount of the bounty. An Espada, whose combat power is already similar to Xiao Wu, actually only gave a bounty of less than 600 million Bailey. Open black lens bracket Yami Yargo close black lens bracket. Attached. Transformed into an angry beast. Affiliation. Christie Kingdom Espada Legion, 1st Espada. Charges. One person dragged the Vice Admiral and killed the Marine Vice Admiral. Repel the Buster Call, causing a large number of marine deaths. Heinous sin. Reward amount. 932 million Bailey. Yo, the same reward amount as the long-legged sister. Davy burst out laughing when he saw Yami's bounty amount. Because he remembered that one of the aunt's daughters was coming. Dubbed 900 million is a reward of 800 million legs, and one of the 100 million dessert stars, Juice Minister Charlotte Smoothie. A veritable juicing girl who ate the juicy fruit. Dominate the Great Voyage. Starting from Summoning 10 Espada. Chapter 43 Billion. Demon King Riot Kun. Davy is quite interested in this juicy G, who has decent strength and long legs. One day when you are free, maybe you can go to Cake Island in the name of Christie Kingdom's diplomacy. But then Davy saw his own reward order, and an exaggerated reward amount was printed in his eyes. Open black lens bracket Christie Davy close black lens bracket. Attached. Sitting on the throne. Occupation. Third King of Christie Kingdom, ruler of Espada Legion. Charges. After ascending the throne, slaughtered the two countries on the same island, beheaded the celestial dragons Charles Rosant, ordered the Espada Corps to intercept Buster Call, causing a large number of marine deaths. The incarnation of sin, like a demon king from Hell Kun. Bounty amount. 3 billion Baileys. Ha ha ha, interesting, Sengoku really did a good job with this one. Is this a slaughter? If you don't make a move, it's already a shot, and the king will explode as soon as you make a move. I'm afraid the whole world is going crazy this time. An unknown king of the kingdom, the storm that was set off in just 1 month has pushed him to the cusp of the world. A reward of 3 billion Baileys. What a crazy high bounty this is. If you are not qualified for this bounty, it is pure flattery. The total reward amount for all members of the entire Christie Kingdom is as high as 6 billion. Even Jillian Manos Grande was rewarded with more than 250 million Baileys in this Buster Call war. Davy can already imagine how many undead creatures will come to Konoma Island to make trouble with his king. Issue the order, and all the people who are outsiders will be beaten and put in jail. To cause trouble, kill all the disabled and throw them into the sea to feed the fish. Now the Christie Kingdom produces a large number of enhanced potions, even the soldiers at the bottom can tear up tigers, and generally pirates only have to die when they come. Dare to come to Christie Kingdom to ask for trouble, as long as you dare to do it, all of them will be beaten to death. No matter what your identity is. Davy sneered, issuing orders mercilessly. Yes, the king. Rem nodded and wrote down Davy's order, which she would later pass on to the heralds below, who would then announce to the soldiers across the country. The king, do you want a cup of black tea? Rem suddenly blinked her eyes and asked cutely. Did the cute Rem make it? Let's have a drink then. Davy smiled and patted Rem's little head dotingly. On the other hand, Rem appeared to be enjoying herself, like a cute kitten. Rem is too cunning, and King Samalam wants to. Ram, not to be outdone, stuck to Davy's body. Yun Yun took small bites, her moving eyes glanced at Davy from time to time, and she was still imagining a certain picture in her mind. Only Hannibal, the party involved, enjoyed the food indifferently as if nothing had happened. Except for Davy, no one found her under the huge dining table, her long legs trembling slightly, revealing her state at this time. Dressrosa. Don Quixote family. In the discussion hall of the palace, Doflamingo, who was sitting on the throne, held a reward order, and the corner of his mouth twitched into his ears. Hey 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 hey. Oh Moses Roy. The total amount of rewards offered by all members of a kingdom is as high as 6 billion Baileys. Doflamingo looked at the bounty in his hand and the news of the rise of Christie's kingdom, and the more he read it, the more interesting he felt. It's too mysterious, Christie's rise is too sudden, when everyone knows this country. He has completed the road to rise and shock the world. The horror displayed is shocking, defeating Marine Admiral Kizaru head-on, and fighting the Buster Call fleet to escape. To be honest, Doflamingo would love to meet Christie's king. At this time, an old man with a wretched face wearing sunglasses, a cloak with a circle, similar to a quilt, and a cane with a plum sign walked in. Don Quixote's top cadre, the sticky fruit ability, Toripal. Dover, Guy got a call and said he needed something for research. Toripal came to Doflamingo and made a request for Guy. What does he want? Dover stopped the wild smile that reached his ears and frowned. This. Toripal stretched out his hand and pointed to the bounty that Doflamingo just held in his hand. Doflamingo raised the bounty and took a closer look. Is it Gillian Manos Grande from the Manos Grande Legion in Christie Kingdom? What does he want this research for? Doflamingo, who knew how terrible the kingdom of Christie was today, was obviously reluctant to provoke this terrible country. If he angers the other party sends an Ulquiorra over and he can wipe out his Don Quixote family. Please like and subscribe.